question that's often asked is, how much should I salary sacrifice? Now, there are three things that you should consider. The firstly is, ideally you salary sacrifice down to the 15% marginal tax rate. So when you salary sacrifice, you're paying tax at 15%. So if your marginal tax rate is 30%, then you're going to get, on every $10,000 that you salary sacrifice, you'll save $1,650. So ideally you'll bring your total income down to the 15% tax rate, or $37,000. Now you can bring it down to $30,000 and save an extra $400 because of the low income tax offset. You get full access to the low income tax offset by salary sacrificing all the way down to $30,000. Now what I mean there is, if I've got a $47,000 income, then ideally I'd try and salary sacrifice my income down to $37,000, which would mean that I would salary sacrifice $10,000 to my super fund, which means my taxable income would be $37,000. I'd pop that over into the super fund before paying tax, and that means that my tax rate would be 15%. So I wouldn't be paying tax over 15%, or 16.5% if you include the Medicare levy. So basically it's a good goal to try and pay tax at no more than 15% if you possibly can. So that's one goal. So the annual saving there is $1,650. The problem is, you need to make sure that you don't exceed your concessional contribution limits that we talked about before. So if you're under 50, it's $25,000 per annum. There is a transitional cap for those over 50 of $50,000 until the end of this financial year. And then just those caps obviously include superannuation guarantee, salary sacrifice, and personal deductible contributions like we talked about earlier. So let's look at an example. We've got someone here who's over 50 years of age, so the contribution limit is $50,000. They're on an income of $87,000, and the question is, how much can they salary sacrifice if their contribution limit is $50,000? $50,000 contribution limit, you would think that potentially you could put in $50,000. So that would reduce your taxable income down to $37,000, and you would save a significant amount of tax. $1,650 times 5, you'd save $8,250 in tax by doing so. But the problem is, because this $50,000 limit includes your superannuation guarantee contribution, so your 9% of the $87,000, it would mean that you would exceed your contribution limits. So you just really need to be careful about that. So in this case, rather than salary sacrificing $50,000, you should be salary sacrificing, well, the maximum amount in this case would be $42,170, because 9% of $87,000 is $7,830. That's where we get this figure from. So we've got the $50,000 total threshold, $50,000 contribution limit, less our superannuation guarantee contributions, means that we can salary sacrifice for $42,170. That's all that you can salary sacrifice, and that provides, a significant amount of benefits anyway. The only other criteria, so we've talked through trying to get down to the 15% tax bracket, not exceeding your contribution limits, and then the only other criteria is your cash flow requirements. So you might, from a theoretical perspective, salary sacrifice $42,000 in this example, but you might not have enough cash to live on. So if you salary sacrifice that, $44,830, after tax might not be enough to live on, so there might be an income gap. So you might only be able to salary sacrifice $20,000. Still, that's going to provide you over $3,000 in benefit, but it still means that you can't maximise your situation. Another way to do that is to still maintain the maximum salary sacrifice of $42,170 and supplement your income from either savings, or you could, if you're over your preservation age that we talked about earlier, you could actually supplement it with income from your pension. So you could move your superannuation to pension phase and supplement your income here with money from your pension account.